We have we think a fabulous program and two incredible people to honor, and I'd like for us to get started because, as Marvin Blum says, Cheryl, it's a school night. So I'm Cheryl Kimberling, president of the Multicultural Alliance, and I'm absolutely thrilled for you all to be here tonight. We are in the overflow section. This has been an incredible sellout, and we think, in part, a tribute to our mission and the work that we do, but we also feel like it's a fabulous tribute to our honorees, Mrs. Dr. Opal Lee and President Fred Slaybach. So the tables that are out in the overflow awning section have a big screen. So I also want to remind our honorees that you both will literally be on the big screen tonight. We're thrilled to welcome you tonight, our longstanding supporters, people who come year after year, and also the folks that are here for the first time. We welcome you to our community and to the Multicultural Alliance. Our organization's mission is to build inclusive communities, and somewhere along the way we feel like that when we do that, we help eradicate bigotry and prejudice, and we help honor people's stories and respect our differences. We reason that good faith dialogue is necessitated by good civic-minded members of our community, and tonight we know that we broaden and deepen this community. So thank you for your presence. I'm delighted to introduce our current presiding chair, Jennifer DeHaro. She will offer words of welcome and acknowledgement to all of us tonight.
So I'm actually just trying to get in the dessert line. Good evening, I'm Jennifer DeHaro, presiding chair, and I add my welcome to Cheryl's. Thank you to everyone for being here tonight to support our work. The Multicultural Alliance is a small nonprofit with a small staff, a medium-sized board, and a modest budget. But every year, we offer programming that supports our mission. And you can find a list of our programs in the printed pamphlet on your table, along with our How to Get Involved cards. So we would love for you to go ahead and take a look at those cards right now. Drop in your information, and we encourage you to look through that list and see how hopefully our mission can join your mission to promote inclusiveness. We'd love to see you at some of our next events. I serve with 25 other dedicated board members, and I'd like to recognize them right now. So I ask anyone in attendance who is a current board member to please stand to be recognized. Thank you. And if you have been a board member in the past or a board member of the National Conference of Christians and Jews, please stand as well so that we can recognize your service. Thank you. These are the folks who founded and have maintained our organization for 72 years. So thank you again to everyone who is here, and especially the dinner table sponsors. The financial success of this dinner tonight is made possible by those sponsors. So if you are a guest of a table sponsor, please go ahead and give them a heartfelt round of applause as well. Thank you so much to our sponsors for your generosity and for supporting our work. A special shout out as well to those who come to this dinner year after year, regardless of who we are honoring, just because you truly believe in our mission. We're thankful that you're here tonight as well. So tonight, we're honoring two incredible individuals, Opal Lee and Fred Slaybach. And we're gonna talk a lot about them in a second, but I would like to recognize 8 of our past honorees who are with us tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and call your name, and if you can remain standing until I reach the end of the list, and audience, if you can hold your applause until I get to the last honoree. Mayor Kenneth Barr, honored in 2002. Rabbi Ralph Mecklenburger, honored in 2011. Paul Dorman, honored in 2014. Marvin Blum and Arnie Gashman, honored in 2016. Dr. Bashir Ahmed, honored in 2017. And Alfred Sines, honored in 2019, as well as a Lifetime Achievement honoree, Chuck Hoffman, honored in 2014. Thank you. Come on. I can attest the desserts are good. So we also would like to pause and remember 3 of our honorees who have passed away since our last dinner. In our private thoughts, we would like to remember them, remember their contributions to our organization and the community. So we are remembering John Roach, honored in 1987, Chancellor Bill Tucker, honored in 1990, and Tim Sear, honored in 2007. All right, now I'd like to introduce Aisha Shefi, who is our own board member, CEO, and radio personality at Radio Azad. She will be serving as our MC tonight. She manages a team of over 36 programmers for Radio Azad, which is a 24/7 radio station that has listeners in over 160 countries and 50 states. Under her leadership, Radio Azad promotes events in DFW community and also offers a platform for thought-provoking discussion of issues that affect the South Asian diaspora. She is very involved in our interfaith dialogues and is passionate about bridging different faiths together. So please welcome Aisha.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, Cheryl, and the Multicultural Alliance for this privilege of being your MC today on International Women's Day. So we want to acknowledge all the hardworking grandmothers, mothers, sisters, daughters, and wives. My husband is here, so wives. All right, so I'd like to reiterate what Jennifer said. You have the cards on your table, how to get involved cards. Fill them out on the back. There is, you can suggest a friend who would love to participate in our programs. You can volunteer them, they'll thank you later. And you can suggest the name of somebody who you would like to also be recognized by us as a future honoree. There's also the silent auction going on in the lobby, so we hope you've placed your bids, and the winners will be announced at the end of the evening, so you can't run away early. It's truly an honor to share the stage with Opal Lee and Fred Slaybach, who have done an incredible amount of work to promote peace, equity, and inclusion. In 2015, I spoke at the MCA Gala about my experience with table talks. It was an innocuous evening, but it changed my life. I made a few hundred friends through Cheryl and Adina and the MCA and Peace Together, and I served on the board of both organizations, so be careful what you sign up for. But I'm thrilled to be back celebrating the work of this glorious organization. I have 3 short stories to share with you tonight. A little over a year ago, when I heard that our friend Rabbi Charlie and other members of Congregation Beth Israel were held hostage at their synagogue, my first instinct was to be there for our dear friend Adina. And along with 2 of my other friends right here tonight, Asra and Salima, we rushed over and met Adina at a local church across the street from the synagogue. Along the way, we stopped to pick up Adina and Charlie's favorite Pakistani food, samosas. Being South Asian, we know that sharing food can heal 90% of the world's problems. That evening, in the small room, there were clergy who were Muslims, Jews, and Christians. And there were us three, comforting Adina and praying for the safety of our friends. We all know how it turned out really well. The hostages managed to escape unharmed, and we all breathed a sigh of relief. A few years ago, our family faced Islamophobic attacks when my husband was serving as an elected official. During that ordeal, we never felt alone because our friends at the MCA and Peace Together stood with us as we fought and defeated bigotry. And my work at Radio Azad is to talk. Imagine being paid to do what we do 90% of the time anyway, talk. But during COVID, I was the only person from my family who was considered as an essential worker, and we were allowed to leave home by the government. Perhaps they knew I would be hazardous to the health of my family if I was locked up with them. But it was during this time that I realized the true value of the radio. When a 70-year-old lady called me during the commercial break, and she was crying about the fear of this little-known disease. Like millions of us, she was lonely and she was scared. That's when I realized that for thousands of our listeners stuck at home, we were the only voices that they heard, the only friends who showed up each and every day to comfort them and to help them cope. Through these experiences, I have learned that it is the small but powerful acts of kindness and standing up for each other that makes the world a better place for all of us. One of the shows on Radio Azad is hosted by a Persian lady, and it's in Persian, it's called Azhar Chaman Samane, which means a flower from every garden. That's what we at MCA are. Look around the room. We're different from each other in so many ways. Gender, skin color, social backgrounds, ethnicities, education, professions, beliefs, cultural norms, and 100 other things, some of which make us uneasy. But the Multicultural Alliance believes that these differences make the world uniquely beautiful, more vibrant, and more fragrant. And in order to grow, we need to get to know each other, to exchange ideas, to build bridges, because you only fear what you don't know. This event tonight is an example of how we bring about change by building a more inclusive and equitable world. It is with small but meaningful gestures like our presence tonight, our pledges, and our support that we can create a more understanding, accepting, and kinder world for our children. Thank you. Most MCA programs follow a yearly rhythm. Camp Community is always in June. The Seminary Interfaith Retreat occurs in early January. Interfaith dialogues, People's Art Collaborative, workshops and presentations, and table talk happen throughout the year. As is our custom at the dinner, we invite someone who has participated in our programming to share their experiences with us. Tonight, Adrian Richardson Collins joins others who have both volunteered and been impacted by the programs of the Multicultural Alliance, Camp Community, the Interfaith Dialogues, and Table Talk. A decorated and beloved classroom teacher and seasoned administrator, Adrian is currently an assistant principal at Manuel Jara Elementary School. We welcome you, Adrian, to the podium.
Certain moments in life have the power to shift our core sense of being. Good evening. First, let me say how delighted I am to share the podium with Miss Opal Lee, the grandmother of Juneteenth, and President Fred Slaybaugh, a man whose imprint will live on the south side of Fort Worth for years to come. Unlike some of you here tonight, I didn't go to Camp Community as a high schooler. I went as an adult advisor. So if you'll indulge me for a moment, I'd like to ask, if you attended either Camp Anytown or Camp Community, please stand. Thank you. If your children went to camp, please stand. Thank you. If you served as leadership at camp, please stand. If you have sponsored or recruited for camp, please stand. If you've heard about camp through the years, please stand. Is that everybody? That should be everybody in the room, right? So over 20 years ago, I was working as a prevention specialist for Fort Worth ISD when Chuck Hoffman, the longtime camp co-director, approached me about being a part of Camp Anytown. Because I've never met an invitation that I didn't want to say yes to, I said yes. I didn't realize at that time that it would be one of the best yeses in my life. Don't tell my husband I said that. In typical Chuck style, there weren't many details. I knew that I would be at a campsite somewhere in the woods with a group of high schoolers for the week. My role was to be an advisor, facilitate the curriculum, and be the teacher. What I didn't know is that it would put me in a place, on a path that would change my life forever. Camp Anytown became Camp Community, and there I was as a witness and an advisor, but it quickly became clear that I was also a learner. The first day of camp, young men and women, strangers, get off the bus wide-eyed and apprehensive. Throughout the week, I witnessed the delegates tell their personal stories, share their aspirations, as well as express their feelings of fear, hope, and joy. In these conversations, I heard them discuss how they wanted to be treated. On the last day of camp, they left connected, caring, and aware that differences are respected and appreciated. People who might pass each other on the street or in the mall or at school engage with individuals very different from themselves. The transformation was magical. Through these difficult conversations and their willingness to share pieces of their lives, delegates affirmed their identity and in the process created bonds and communities of support. Even in preparation for this moment, many of those faces of those high schoolers just flooded my memory. I would never be the same. I think of myself as a person with an open heart and an open mind. Camp filled my heart. I came back year after year. Every year I met new people, I learned new things. I became a better listener, a better friend, and a better teacher, as well as a leader. Then my personal life accelerated. In 2010, my husband proposed to me. In 2011, I was married and honeymooning. And in 2012, you guessed it, I was pregnant. 10 years later, in 2022, that 9-year-old boy gave me permission to return to camp. He said, Granny can take care of me. My lens shifted. I now view camp from the perspective of a parent. Do I even need to tell you that in 6 years, that boy will be attending camp? Let me pause here. I'm presenting camp like it's a magical place. Don't get me wrong, it's magical, but it's a struggle. The students struggle. They go back into lives that aren't perfect. But that week in camp gives them some coping skills, relationships, leadership that's supporting them. We tell them that the camp experience is not ending, it's beginning. We know that life isn't perfect, no matter where your zip code is. Delegates go home knowing that they have built a community that will walk with them. The delegate experience would be hard to describe to those who had not attended. Many delegates desire to return as counselors, as advisors. From 1982 to 2022, about 2,500 students have gone to camp. I hear from and know about many who have chosen career paths that build inclusive communities and embody the camp experience. Many of us have heard or were taught that you shouldn't talk about religion or politics. The Multicultural Alliance invites people to talk about deep and sometimes difficult topics. Today, we need places where people who look different and live differently are given safe, inviting spaces to communicate openly, engage vulnerably, and expect better. We need aspirational leaders who are willing to do the hard work of uniting us around an optimistic future. My experience didn't end with Camp Community. As a part of the broader MCA community, I was able to sit at the dinner table with a group of women I knew very little about and participate in a table talk. My mother says the best way to get to know someone is to share a meal with them. And Mama was right. I was challenged and affirmed in unexpected ways. Wanting more, I signed up to participate in an interfaith dialogue. Growing up the daughter of a Baptist preacher didn't always provide me with the opportunity to share with people of different faiths. During my participation in the 6-week session, not only did I learn about the faith traditions of others, but I was able to share my own faith tradition. In all of my program participation with the Multicultural Alliance, my takeaway is this: people say goodbye very differently than they say hello. It happens one person at a time, one conversation at a time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Adrian. So I'm going to say it again. Hello. Since we say hello differently, right? Okay. If the saying is true that this woman needs no introduction, this rings true for Opal Lee. Albert Einstein once said that the woman who follows the crowd will usually go no further than the crowd, but the woman who walks alone is likely to find herself in places no one has ever been before. Smart man, that Einstein. I think he was talking about Opal Lee. Opal Lee is a nationally recognized icon who is perhaps best known as the grandmother of Juneteenth. For almost a lifetime, she persevered for Juneteenth, the date marking the full emancipation of enslaved people in the United States, to become a national holiday. This dream was realized as she stood with President Biden when he signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act in 2022. A woman who possesses the rare qualities of normal and extraordinary and never one to sit still for very long, she continues to make a difference. She has received 3 honorary doctorates, named 2021 Texan of the Year by the Dallas Morning News, nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize, and her portrait hangs in the Senate chamber of the Texas State Capitol. Tonight, please rise as we welcome Opal Lee, our Lifetime Achievement honoree.
Thank you, young people. And you got to realize you are all young people if you're not 96. Every one of you. I'm so grateful. I'm humbled. And I really would, well, I'd start doing a holy dance, but the kids say when I do that, I'm twerking, so that's all. And there's so much I want to share with you, and I know I got about 5 minutes, you understand. But I want each of you to make yourself a committee of one to change somebody's mind. You know, people who aren't on the same page you are on, change their minds. And their minds can be changed. If people can be taught to hate, they can be taught to love. And I want you to be the ones to change their minds. We've got the greatest country in the world. And all it takes is for us to forget that I'm brown and you're white and somebody else is some other color. Let's forget it. We all bleed red blood. And there's no reason why we can't get rid of disparities in our country. This joblessness, homelessness, health care that some can get and others can't, climate change that we are all responsible for. We can do better than what we're doing. And I'm going to keep on talking and keep on walking and hope some things will change. Thank you. You know, people can't remember what they want to say. And there's no way I'm going to let all of you leave here without telling you that we are going to have the National Juneteenth Museum in Fort Worth. And so I brought this up here to kind of show you what it's gonna look like. And it's reminiscent of shotgun houses in Fort Worth that we used to live in. And we're gonna raise some $70 million, 40 of it in Fort Worth. So when I come knocking at your door, and I will. And before we leave, give the old lady your card. I'm just delighted that I know people who are willing to help our town, and I call Fort Worth a town. Progress. We've got so much. And I, for one, am delighted. The other thing is, you need to know I wrote a book called Juneteenth for Children. So get it for your youngsters. You might learn something yourself.
Ms. Opal, you honor us with your presence tonight, and we're happy to present you with this plaque, which reads as follows. The Board of Directors confers the Lifetime Achievement Award to Dr. Opal Lee for her efforts in building inclusive communities, celebrated at the 72nd Multicultural Alliance Annual Awards event, March 8th, 2023. Congratulations, Ms. Opal.
Thank you. You think I'm gonna do that holy dance, but I'm not.
I want to be like her when I get her age. All right. I think what Ms. Lee's words, people who are taught to hate can also be taught to love. And I think she's put the burden on all of us to be that committee of one starting tonight. So thank you, Opal Lee, for that. Tonight, we honor President of Texas Wesleyan University, a man who clearly demonstrated a love and dedication to the university and the surrounding community. During his 12 years as president, he led the long-term effort to improve the neighborhoods around Texas Wesleyan that inspired the Rosedale Renaissance. President Slaybaugh joins a long list of Texas Wesleyan presidents, board members, alumni, and community members in receiving our annual award. Join me as we welcome and honor President Fred Slaybaugh.
So I don't know if any of you saw what just happened there, but we had a small platform that we had made for Dr. Lee, and I just want it noted that that was built by the Texas Wesleyan University Theater Department. I have to say that I think there are a number of things that I'm going to remember tonight, not least of which is that people can be taught to hate, they can be taught to love. I'm also going to remember, don't tell my husband that the best yes of my life was to say yes to being a camp counselor. I'll also remember that. I'm absolutely delighted to be here this evening. I'm especially delighted to be here at the same time as Dr. Lee is being honored for a Lifetime Achievement Award. It actually relieves the pressure on me because I know that no matter what I say tonight, no one will remember anything that I say because they will be in such awe of Dr. Lee. On behalf of Texas Wesleyan University, it's my great honor to accept the Multicultural Alliance Annual Award for 2023. Although my name is on the award, I know that this is bestowed in recognition of the work of the entire team of dedicated faculty, staff, students, alumni, and board members of Texas Wesleyan University. Together, Texas Wesleyan has worked to further its mission to increase access and diversity in higher education, the development of leaders with multicultural competencies, and the revitalization of our diverse neighborhood home in Southeast Fort Worth. This mission resonates, I believe, with the mission of the Multicultural Alliance, with the purpose to enhance inclusivity and cultural understanding through shared experiences and education. There are several members of the Texas Wesleyan University Board of Trustees who are here with me tonight, and I'd like to ask them to stand as I introduce them so that they can accept this award with me on behalf of the university. Commissioner Roy Brooks and Dr. Jennifer Giddings Brooks, Tim Carter, Karen Kramer. Please stand while I'm introducing you. Please stand. Karen Kramer, Rosa Navahar, Mark Ma, and Lisa, we're delighted that you're here with us this evening as well. Dr. Kim Persley and Ed, we're delighted that you're here with us as well. Dr. Greg Phillips, Beverly Powell, and Charlie, appreciate you being here. Alice Puente and Buddy, thank you for being here with us as well. And Judge Lewis Stearns and Marilyn, thank you very much for being here with us tonight. Thank you for everything that you do for our community. I'd also like to thank my wife, Melanie Nielsen, who has worked beside me for all this time, for the 12 years, with the Texas Wesleyan team to achieve our mutual goals. Most of you know that Melanie is actually the truly talented one in the family. For those of you who may not know, Melanie is an author, and she has won 3 literary awards and was nominated for the Pulitzer Prize. And when people ask her, where do you come up with your ideas for your books, she often replies, well, if you grow up in Mississippi, as Melanie and I did, you don't have to have an imagination. Just pay attention. Much like growing up in Texas, I'm sure. Melanie, thank you for everything. I am overjoyed to be a part of this celebration of the mission of the Multicultural Alliance. This tremendous organization is steeped in the lifeblood of our community. It's forged in the crucible of challenges and imbued with the fortitude to overcome them. We're assembled on this occasion during a time of great anxiety and stress. From the assault on democracy halfway around the world to voices of intolerance, anti-democratic authoritarianism, and hate here at home. Those challenges reverberate throughout the halls of higher education and in the civic, business, and government organizations in Fort Worth in a way that highlights the relevance of our joint mission, Texas Wesleyan and the Multicultural Alliance. I think it is especially significant that the Multicultural Alliance specifically includes education in its mission, because I believe that education is the key to understanding and tolerance. Often when we discuss education, it's couched in economic terms, and education is needed to get ahead financially. And of course, that is true. The data shows that over the course of a lifetime, over the course of a career in higher education can increase an individual's earnings by $1 million. But that is not the sum total of the value of education. Beyond income, education and the critical thinking, analytical reasoning, and creative problem solving that it fosters. Education is the antidote to anti-democratic authoritarianism and intolerance and hate. I do believe that education is the greatest socioeconomic elevator ever devised by humankind. I also believe that education fosters democratic citizenship, tolerance, and inclusivity in a diverse society. In spite of the challenges in the world, I have hope. As Melanie and I prepare to return to our home state of Mississippi, a state that has its own share, more than its share, of intolerance and hate, I have hope because of you, the members and friends of the Multicultural Alliance, and you, the board, faculty, staff, students, and alumni, and friends of Texas Wesleyan University. You, who have a passion to apply education and reasoning to the great problems of our day, a passion to foster democratic citizenship, inclusiveness, understanding, and tolerance through shared experiences. Our community needs what you have to offer. And I know that through your hard work and dedication, you will change the world by changing lives, one student at a time. May God bless you, and may God bless the Multicultural Alliance and Texas Wesleyan University. Thank you.
So I'll read what's on the plaque. The Board of Directors confers the Multicultural Alliance Award to President Frederick Slaybach for displaying a commitment to promoting diversity, inclusion, and understanding. Congratulations. We know that leaving Fort Worth doesn't come without the pain and grief of saying goodbye. But tonight we celebrate you for your commitment to the city where you live and for building a gift of a beautiful, inclusive community. Thank you so much. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, a round of applause for Dr. Opal Lee and President Fred Slaybaugh. We are truly honored by your commitments to leave the world a better place. What a remarkable evening it's been, right? The goal of the Multicultural Alliance is to provide opportunities to bring people together with the hope of diminishing prejudice and discrimination. Creating a genuine respect for difference remains paramount. This gala secures our necessary funding for the year. We ask that you continue to support our mission and programming with your attendance. I'm going to remind you about those cards again in case you haven't filled them out. Please keep that MCA pen. It writes beautifully. So you can indicate your program participation. On the back of the card, suggest a person to participate in our programs. Any nominees for future honorees, please write their names, and you can drop the card in the basket on your way home. And please note our address change, the P.O. box in your program. And by the way, please take your programs with you as well. It's time to announce the auction item winners. And before we do that, I'd like to thank Manuel Jara Elementary School art teacher, David Orona. Is he here, David? So his art students designed the graphics for the auction items that are placed in the stands. So I have the list of the auction items. Cheryl?
The auction items will close at 9 o'clock, so you've got a few minutes left to go out and bid and negotiate that, but we are not going to announce them here. So we'll contact you when the auctions close at 9.
Okay.
Thank you.
So you want me to read out the names? Okay. So let me tell you about what we have in the auction items. We have 4 gallery-level reserved seats, Pro Rodeo Tournament for 2024. We have A Major Piano Service for piano tuning, Capital Grill gift card for $50, an Omni Hotel one-night stay, Worthington Hotel 1 room for 2 nights, a gift basket, dinner for 4 at a private residence, estate planning session, Boodle's Gin, flag flown over the U.S. Capitol, pure Kentucky bourbon, 4 Dallas Mavericks tickets and parking, and premium wine and stemware. So if you can, if you'd like, you can put your bids in for that. Also, please take a look at our NCCJ camp t-shirts for sale. Do we have any models for that? No? Okay. So they are there for sale as well. And that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed the evening and you leave feeling a little more inspired. And we hope you took lots of selfies. Please post on social media, #Multicultural Alliance. And on behalf of all of us, safe travels. Good night.